Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very exciting segment once again today on the 7th of the June 2022. And good morning, everyone who has just joined in. Well, what's happening right here in Brisbane? 12 degrees and mostly cloudy. No wonder it's that cold, but thank God it's not that windy. We don't have that gusty winds. It will be the winds will start picking up from now till August, we know, when the west-list come in, and with the west-list comes the ECA. And this year the ECA will be in a different format, so we will bring to you all those. So will be the India Day Fair, which is around that time, actually on the 13th of August this year, at Roma Street Parklands, going back to its own traditional grounds after having done the rounds. Well, right now, let's get onto the news and see what's going to happen. Right now, Queensland hospitality business introduces incentives to get some more workers.
Well, it's not only the health sector that's facing the worker shortages, though, because hospitality businesses are still struggling to attract any staff in the wake of the pandemic shutdowns. In Queensland, they've started offering incentives, including accommodation to get the workers in. Reporter Owen Jarks joins us now from Noosa's main beach. Owen, I am a little jealous of you being there, but I do get it that things aren't as idyllic as they might be.
That's right, Lisa. You can see why people want to be in Noosa at the moment, especially in the depths of winter, basically. But what that means is that with all those people coming to Noosa, hospitality industry is under pressure, and they're struggling to find workers because the workers that they would normally rely on, they're having a hard time finding a place to stay. We've actually been speaking to a young woman, Sarah Brown, who's a 20-year-old who travelled to Noosa. She's been working here for months at one of the very popular cafes, would like to stay here longer and really sort of help address that skills shortage, I suppose. But there's nowhere else for her to stay, so she's been bunking down with 7 other people in a backpacker's dorm. And I think we've got a grab from her as well.
My bed, it has a blanket as a curtain so that I can have some privacy. Yeah, what I'm living with at the moment. A blanket as a wall.
So that's Sarah's experience. She wouldn't be alone, clearly. What's the impact of the staff shortages? What's the flow-on effect?
Well, it's having a big impact, basically. You can see, obviously, Main Beach behind me. Well, one of the things that people love to do when they come to Noosa is to have breakfast on the beach. It's sort of something that is really quite famous around here. But we're having restaurants, very popular restaurants, having to turn off that breakfast service because they simply don't have the staff to service it. So they're instead turning to just lunch and dinner. We were also talking to a property manager who has actually secured a property and converted it to essentially workers' quarters just to ensure that her workers have somewhere to stay and make sure that, houses can be cleaned once guests check out.
So where to from here?
Well, from here, the hope is that eventually more travellers will return, backpackers will return, some of those foreign workers will return as well, but that's going to take time. There is a plan from Tourism Noosa to look towards potentially even grey nomads, filling that gap in the meantime. The wider Noosa area has an ageing population, and it's a population that I think the hospitality industry really wants to mobilise to help fill those spaces, so it could be one to watch around here.
Well, that is the challenge, trying to find the accommodation. And of course, we know right here in Brisbane as well, finding accommodation is quite challenging. And we'll bring to you the real estate update with Usa Chandra right here tomorrow. Well, after Queensland, right now, let's go to South Australia, where they are ramping delays outside the hospital.
Winter alarm bells are ringing for the Health Minister.
Time's up.
Chris Picton timing a visit to the Royal Adelaide to release his plan to manage hospitals in coming months and reveal ambulance ramping outside emergency departments hit an all-time high in May.
Past month of figures have shown that we've had 3,412 hours ramped across our hospitals, which is clearly unacceptable.
It is not the number that we would like to see.
It's a number nearly 30% bigger than April's figure. and comes as ambulance delays blow out to new levels, with only 61% of life-threatening cases seen on time, 10% fewer than the previous year. Labor swept to power 3 months ago on the back of its pledge to fix ramping. The Premier on Saturday night saw firsthand the size of the problem just 2 days before the latest stats were released.
This is going to be a big effort to turn the ship around, but one thing we know is that this government is not going to leave a stone unturned. We're making the big investments in resources and we're starting to see those roll out even this week.
Labor made many promises in the lead up to the March 2022 election. They need to now get on and fulfil them. Let's end the photo shoots, let's knuckle down, sort out the health system.
To do just that, an extra $2.4 billion for health was allocated in last week's budget. But the acting department boss says it's going to take time to turn ramping around.
We would expect to see an improvement, over the next several years in that process, as the investment into the health system is quite significant.
With hospitals already under significant pressure and facing the double threat of COVID and flu presentations this winter, the Minister says even more bed capacity is urgently needed.
And we're continuing to put the pressure on SA Health to try to find additional beds that we can open.
80 in total under the winter plan. Of those, 28 will come from private providers, while a new assessment centre at the RAH will open this month to divert some patients away from emergency.
This is a really important first step to making sure that we've got space in the emergency departments to see the patients who need ED care.
Patients are also being warned cancelling non-urgent elective surgery remains on the cards to help hospitals cope this winter. Rory McLaren.
And there you go. So putting on self the elective surgeries to cope up with the emergencies there. Well, right now we go to Canberra, where a teenager has been charged with murder.
Police described the case as a real whodunit. In the beginning, there were no clues about who had shot Glenn Wolowitz at his front door late at night in June last year. But gradually, a picture began to emerge as police trawled hundreds of hours of CCTV footage and phone data, as well as talked to witnesses.
It was good old-fashioned police work that's got us to where we are today.
Signs of a breakthrough emerged on Saturday when 19-year-old Riatal Nkube faced court charged with being an accessory after the fact. Court documents revealed police had been listening to his phone calls since earlier this year. Police today charged an 18-year-old man with murder, but the investigation isn't finished yet.
We're yet to recover that firearm. We do believe there's people in the community that know the whereabouts of that firearm.
Police have confirmed neither of the men arrested was known to Mr Wolowitz, raising questions about the motive. The 18-year-old man charged with murder has been remanded in custody until later in the month. Police say they expect to make further arrests. Elizabeth Byrne, ABC.
Well, there you go. That's slightly disturbing news coming out of there. Also now, there's calls for unexpected wealth legislation.
For those with alleged links to bikie gangs, life is becoming pretty unbearable.
Police! FPO! Open the door!
During a 5-day blitz, heavily armed police raided 52 homes and apartments across Sydney's southwest. More than $150,000 in cash was seized, drugs too, including cannabis and ice, as well as weapons and 3 stolen cars. At least 15 men were arrested, 7 of them at a drug lab at Lansvale.
The individuals that were targeted are engaged in organised crime activity, which is leading to the current conflicts that are occurring in southwest Sydney.
The operation was led by Strikeforce Hawk, which was set up after the assassination of Salim and Tufik Hamzi last October. The opposition has criticised the government over a delay in laws that would allow police to target the unexplained wealth of underworld figures. Such laws are already in place in Western Australia, and police here believe they could help them in their ongoing war against the drug trade.
If someone's got a Maserati, a Ferrari and a waterfront home and they're technically unemployed, they need to explain where the source of that wealth came from.
Well, I'm hopeful that it will get through. Obviously it's still before Cabinet, and that'll be a Cabinet decision, but I certainly want to see it happen sooner rather than later.
A plea for more powers from the front line. Mark Reddy, ABC News.
So if you have a Ferrari and living in a big home and you are unemployed, please explain. Well, right now, moving on, Let's get to our next news. Google is ordered to pay John Barilaro. Let's see what that case would be like.
For more than a year before bowing out of politics, John Barilaro was the subject of a campaign on the second most visited site in the world.
I'm happy it's the end of the journey.
2 videos published in late 2020 by Jordan Shanks, aka Friendly Geordies, were found to have unfairly portrayed Mr Barilaro as a corrupt conman, among other imputations. Today, a judge said the campaign was relentless, racist, vilificatory, abusive and defamatory. Last year, the retired politician settled against Mr Shanks after the comedian apologised and edited some of the videos. The judge today said Google couldn't escape liability. He needed YouTube to disseminate his poison. Google was willing to join Mr Shanks in doing so to earn revenue as part of its business model. He awarded $715,000 in damages.
It was never about money, it was about an apology, removal.
The judge took aim at another video published in December last year, which he said attacked the professional integrity of Mr Barilaro's lawyers without basis. The judge referred the conduct of Jordan Shanks and Google to the principal registrar to consider proceedings against each. He said there appeared to be serious contempt of court by bringing improper pressure to bear on Mr Barilaro and his lawyers not to pursue the defamation case. In a statement, Mr Shanks said Mr Barilaro's claim of parliamentary privilege prevented evidence being used against him. Poor old Google left to carry the can. I guess they are rich enough to not care. The ex-politician says he's now enjoying private life. Jamie McKinnell, ABC News.
And enjoying private life and, of course, coming under that kind of limelight and getting pressure, well, Google has to pay now. So, of course, there are things like that which goes on, and many times it slips below the radar, and, it's very hard. And you put some little things and you get caught, and Google quickly takes it down. There are things like this which get away, and now they have ended up in court with damages to be paid. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now, before we go to our upcoming events for today, let's go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and much more on India and the Indian diaspora. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends Save Soil Movement event with Isha Foundation founder Sadhguru Chakki Vasudev. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 5th June addressed a program on Save Soil Movement on the occasion of World Environment Day. Isha Foundation founder Sadhguru Chakki Vasudev participated in the event held at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. The gathering was first addressed by Chakki Vasudev, popularly known as Sadhguru. The Save Soil Movement is a global initiative to increase awareness about deteriorating soil health and bring about a conscious response to improve it. The movement was started in March by Sadhguru Chakki Vasudev, who embarked on a 100-day motorcycle journey passing through 27 countries. June 5th marks the 75th day of his journey. The venue was thronged with people as Indian singer Mohit Chauhan's melodious songs made the event more surreal. The event was also marked by beautiful dance performances and videos explaining the purpose of the Save Soil movement. Philanthropist and Microsoft founder Bill Gates lauds India's role in meeting climate targets at LIFE launch. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on June 5th launched the LIFE movement, a global initiative, through video conferencing. Bill Gates also attended the event. Bill Gates, who is a co-chairman of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, congratulated Modi for taking the lead on the LIFE initiative launched on World Environment Day. Bill Gates said, quote, India's leadership is crucial in achieving our global climate targets. To eliminate greenhouse gases, we need tech and cooperation of all, including partnerships of public and private sectors, end quote. The LIFE initiative, Lifestyle for Environment, aims to promote an environmentally conscious lifestyle that focuses on mindful and deliberate utilization instead of mindless and destructive consumption. The idea was introduced by Modi during the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties COP26 held last year in Glasgow. Delivering the keynote address, Prime Minister extended India's support in furthering global wellness as he pitched for the principles of reduce, reuse and recycle. Indian Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu launches India-Qatar Startup Bridge in Doha. The Indian Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on June 5th launched the India-Qatar Startup Bridge, a joint initiative that aims to link the startup ecosystems of the two countries and help their economies mutually. The joint initiative was launched as Naidu addressed the members of the business community at the India-Qatar Business Forum. The startup initiative is likely to boost the business sectors manually. During the meeting, Vice President Naidu launched India-Qatar Startup Bridge that aims to link the startup ecosystems of the two countries, a tweet from his secretariat said. He highlighted the strength of India-Qatar ties and called for building an enabling environment and forging more collaborations for mutual benefit, it said. The India-Qatar Business Forum was jointly organized by FICCI and CII and ASSOCHAM along with Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Leading businessmen from both India and Qatar participated in the Business Forum. The Ministry of External Affairs said that it is hoped that the forum will result in new networking opportunities for trade and investment between both the sides. Qatar's FDI in India is in excess of USD 450 million and there is great potential for increasing these investments. Invest India, representing the Commerce and Industry Ministry of India and Investment Promotion Agency of Qatar, have reached an understanding on cooperation to promote two-way investments between both the countries, MEA said in a press release. Bilateral trade crossed USD 15 billion in FY 2021-2022. Qatar has also committed investments of over USD 2 billion in various Indian companies over the past 2 years. Naidu's visit to Qatar is taking place as both sides prepare to celebrate the 50th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations. On June 6, Naidu met Qatar's Prime Minister and Interior Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Khalifa bin Abdulaziz Al Thani here, and two leaders renewed the growing bilateral ties between the two countries in areas like trade, investment, economic and security cooperation. India records over 4,000 COVID-19 cases for the second straight day. India on June 6 recorded over 4,000 COVID-19 cases for the second straight day, with 4,518 fresh cases reported in the last 24 hours. Earlier June 5, 4,270 cases were recorded. According to the Health Ministry data, a total of 9 deaths have been recorded since June 5, taking the overall fatalities to 5,24,701. The death rate in the country currently stands at 1.22%. A total of 2,779 people have recovered in the last 24 hours, taking the total recoveries to 4 lakh. The recovery rate currently stands at 98.73%. The Delhi High Court has called for strict action against those found violating rule to wear masks and hand hygiene norms at airports and in aircraft, observing that COVID-19 pandemic has not abated and keeps springing up its ugly head. Bollywood stars Shah Rukh Khan and Katrina Kaif test positive for COVID-19. Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan tested positive for COVID-19 on June 5th. Katrina Kaif also tested positive recently, claimed several reports, and had to skip the IFA 2022 ceremony where her husband, actor Vicky Kaushal, was declared the best actor. On June 4th, actor Kartik Aaryan announced that he was COVID-19 positive. On the same day, it was reported that actor Aditya Roy Kapoor, who was gearing up for the release of his upcoming film Om, The Battle Within, tested positive for the virus. Just a week after Akshay Kumar announced he cancelled his visit to India Pavilion at the Cannes Film Festival after he tested positive. Maharashtra on June 5th reported over 1,400 COVID-19 cases and Mumbai 961 cases, accounted for almost 60% of the state's total cases. Maharashtra Minister Aditya Thackeray asked people to wear masks and not to panic amid the spiraling cases. He said, quote, "There is no need to panic. Fatalities are not increasing. I appeal to public to wear a face mask and receive a booster dose of COVID-19 vaccine," end quote. After 2 years, first batch of Hajj Pilgrimage 2022 devotees leave from Srinagar. The first batch of the 145 Hajj pilgrims from Jammu and Kashmir left for Saudi Arabia for the holy pilgrimage from Srinagar airport on June 5th. The Muslim pilgrimage is resuming after 2 years owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Pilgrims visited Hajj House to submit their relevant documents. The Jammu and Kashmir government completed the documentation process of all the devotees. For the last 2 years, Saudi government had restricted religious pilgrimage due to COVID. However, in 2022, around 6,000 people will be allowed to perform Hajj due to COVID restrictions. Member Hajj Committee of India Engineer Ejaz Hussain, along with Commissioner Secretary Revenue Vijay Kumar, Deputy CEO Javed Ahmed and CEO JK Hajj Committee flagged off the first batch of 145 Hajis from Hajj House, Bimina in Srinagar. On the final day of the IFA Awards in Abu Dhabi, several Bollywood celebrities walked the green carpet in their best looks. Take a look. A host of Bollywood celebrities came together for the IFA green carpet in Abu Dhabi on June 4th. All from Nora Fatehi in a statement black dress to Vicky Kaushal in a black suit and a bow tie, the night was lit with several stunning appearances. Vicky Kaushal took home the Best Actor award for his performance in the film Sardar Udham. Kriti Sanon graced the event in a yellow feather gown with a train and won the Best Actor Female for her film Mimi. While the Best Film Award went to Shesha, Vishnu Vardhan took home the Best Director award for the same film. However, actors Siddharth Malhotra and Kiara Advani could not make it to the event. As Ritesh Deshmukh turned host for the event, wife Janelya Deshmukh walked the green carpet in a yellow gown with a train. Shahid Kapoor also attended the event solo in a black suit with shimmery detail. Actor Pankaj Tripathi won the Best Supporting Actor Male for playing the manager of the Indian cricket team in Kabir Khan's 83. Anurag Basu won the Best Story Award for Ludo and was seen at the event in a kurta pajama. Ananya Pandey was spotted at the event in a silver sari. Actor Nargis Fakhri also made a rare appearance in a huge black and green gown. Teaser of Shah Rukh Khan's next film Jawan has been released. Take a look. Red Chillies Entertainment on June 3rd announced Shah Rukh Khan's new film Jawan. Directed by Atlee, the action thriller has reportedly been in production for a while now, with several set leaks making their way online. This is the third new Shah Rukh Khan film to be announced this year following Pathaan and Dunki. Jawan will be released on June 2nd, 2023. The announcement was accompanied by a 1.5-minute video that opens up with a shot of Northern Lights. We hear the sounds of whistles as Shah Rukh Khan's face is revealed, covered in bandages. The video then cuts to a television screen on which there appears to be a coded message flashing. Shah Rukh Khan's character then uncovers a trove of ammunition and receives a message on the radio. He laughs and says, "Ready," as hype music plays in the background. Jawan appears to be taking a pan-India approach considering its multi-language release. Hours after Bobby Deol's Ashram Season 3 premiered on MX Player, the makers released a teaser of the show's 4th season. Take a look. Ashram 3, starring Bobby Deol in the lead roles, premiered on 3rd June on MX Player. Even as fans started to binge-watch the series, the actors shared a teaser of the next season, leaving them all more excited. Season 4 of Prakash Shah directorial will release next year, and going by teaser, it seems like a more enthralling drama. In the teaser, we get to see how Baba Nirala's Bobby Deol drunk on power like never before. In one of the scenes, Baba is heard asking a policeman how he can arrest a god. On the other hand, Pammi Aditi Pohankar, in a shocking twist, returns to the ashram. While everyone questions her decision, she seems to have a plan in mind. Towards the end of the teaser, character is seen getting dressed as a bride, hinting at a bigger twist in the upcoming season. That's all in today's bulletin.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for you in that segment. But right now, before we finish off for today, let's take a look at some of the functions and events taking place. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say goodbye from this segment. We'll see you tomorrow with the two segments, 9 o'clock news and 10 o'clock. We'll have the real estate update with Usha Chandra right here on this channel. Hi, it's always wonderful to have your company. And today, moving on, I think we're still on 12 degrees. I thought we might have gone up one notch. It feels that way, but now it did. Just now it turned over as I was speaking. So it's 13 degrees and mostly cloudy right here in Brisbane. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.